Hello and welcome to another lesson with Mr. Roman. Today we're going to be talking about the notes from basic algebra, and the lesson is entitled Multiplying Polynomials. So we recently have been talking about simplifying expressions and the distributive property, and so we took that a step further and we said, how would that work with multiplying polynomials? But let's first go through a little bit of review. Let's start with a binomial here, 8a squared plus 5a quantity minus 3a minus 6a squared plus 22. Okay, so here we have a binomial and then a trinomial. And really what's happening here is we can see this negative sign as like a -1 out in front of the parentheses, which we can then use to distribute to each monomial inside the parentheses. Here, the parentheses are really unneeded because we can consider a positive one to be on the outside, and if we were to distribute a positive one to each term inside, we would still get the same thing here. So really we can drop these parentheses on this expressions and just say 8a squared plus 5a. And again, when we distribute the -1 here, we're going to get -3a plus 6a squared minus 22. Now we need to look to combine like terms or add and subtract like terms. And I see the a squared and the a squared here. If we combine those two, we're going to get 14a squared. And then we see that these two are like terms, and that would be a positive 2a. And then the -22 just follows along with all that, and this would be our simplified expression. Let's look at another example. A little bit of review before the actual multiplying of polynomials. Next we have 4x y squared times 2yx minus x squared times y cubed plus 10y squared. Okay? So here we have multiple sets of grouping symbols here and here, and we're going to be using the distributive property twice. Once here and then once here. So starting here, if we use the distributive property, 4xy squared times 2yx would equal 8y cubed x squared. Then multiplying this times this, we would get -4x squared y squared. Now moving to this set of parentheses, if we multiply here with the distributive property, we'll get -x squared y cubed. And then here we'll get -10x squared y squared. So now that we've used the distributive property twice, we have a polynomial left here. So we have 4 terms, 4 monomials inside the expression, meaning that this is a polynomial. And now we need to add or subtract the like terms. And remember, like terms are terms that have the same variables with the same exponents on those variables. So here we can say that the -4x squared y squared is a like term with this because they both have x squared and they both have y squared. And combining those, you'll get -14x squared y squared. Then we see that this term and this term are like terms because the x is squared and then the y is cubed. So 8 minus 1 is going to be 7x squared y cubed. And that would be our simplified expression here. This would be our answer. Now we move into multiplying polynomials. So the first example we want to start with is a binomial times a binomial. So remember, a binomial means that you have two monomials in an expression. So let's start with 6w minus 3 times w plus 7. So again, we have a binomial times another binomial. And really what we're going to be using here is the FOIL method. So F-O-I-L. And the FOIL stands for firsts, outers, inners, and lasts. I'll kind of draw out what that means here. The firsts would be multiply the 6w times the w. So that would be firsts. The outers would be multiply the 6w times 7. So that would be O. So taking the 6w times the w, you get 6w squared. And then multiplying the outers, you get 6w times 7, which is 42w. Then, if we move to the 3, the negative 3, we're going to take negative 3 times w, that would be the inners, and then the negative 3 times the 7, which would be the lasts. So negative 3 times w is negative 3w. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. Okay, now that we've FOILed this, or in other words, we've really just used the distributive property twice. We used the distributive property with the negative 3 times these two, and then the 6w times these two. And that's where we got 4 terms here. Now we can look to simplify further in combining the like terms, which are here and here, which will give us 39w minus 21. And then the other two terms just tag along with us. So this would be our simplified expression. And one more example. Here, this one's going to be a little bit more complicated, but you're going to have 16u cubed minus 21u squared m plus u squared minus 7 times m plus u. Okay? So here we want to use the FOIL method with the binomial times the binomial. If we do the first, we'll get u squared m, and then the outers will get u cubed, and then if we do the inners, we'll get negative 7 times m, which is negative 7m, and then negative 7 times u would be the lasts, which would give us negative 7u. So here, we write this out a little bit more clearly. Those are the 4 terms that we got from using the FOIL method on the binomial times the binomial. So now we can look to really drop these two terms down here and look to combine like terms. So we've really replaced this with these 4 terms here. And now looking at like terms, we say that the u cubed and the u cubed will give us 17u cubed. The negative 21 u squared m and the u squared m will give me negative 20 u squared m. And then these 2 terms will just, again, tag along. So this would be our simplified expression. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in again next time for another video lesson.